while it's attached. Now the rule is that worms and insects are forbidden if they walk on the ground. If they never walked on the ground, then they're not forbidden.
That's what, by the way, in hydroponic lettuce, somebody was saying, like, you don't have to check.
It's not from the ground.
Lettuce,
It's higher up, yeah.
That's
They make it higher from the ground. It's not on the ground.
Yeah, I thought they did it because they can avoid the soil, the insects that come from the soil. But the problem is that if it's attached to the ground, that's considered. If it's attached to the ground, then it's considered that it was on the ground. Now, what we're going to say here is that if it was infested after it was removed from the ground on the shelf, then those bugs possibly, if the eggs or if it became infested from the, I don't know if I guess it's like spontaneous generation sort of thing, inside the squash itself. So then we're going to say that it's not forbidden because those insects were never on the ground.
Okay. Could be a flying insect that entered.
Yeah, but where did that fly come from?
Another fly.
I don't know, but it had to be born on the ground.
On the ground? No, it was born on the leaf or in the fruit of another
but that
tree.
leaf is attached to the ground. That's considered the ground. So it had to be infested from.
If
the cucumber is attached to the ground, then it's considered on the ground.
Right.
So, but how do we know? So he says like this: that Shmuel says that it's because it's attached to the ground. However, Hani Tamri Dekada, these dates that are infested.
Oh, yeah, dates are.
So Labasar Tracy Yarchishata Shayan. If you wait 12 months, then they have to be permitted. Why? Because we're going to say that how did they get infested? It must be after they were removed, because the insects would have never survived the 12 months. No, whenever you find a bug inside, you say, well, maybe it started while it was on the tree, so it's forbidden. Because that's attached to the ground. But if you wait 12 months, because you can preserve the dates, so then it's going to be permissible. Okay.
Because under some theory, this insect never had an attachment to the ground.
Right.
Like cheese today, if you get these kosher cheese with worms inside, the worms are kosher. If it comes from the cheese.
I've never seen the worms in the cheese.
I've never seen, but they say that this kosher, this cheese, traifer cheese for sure.
Bonus.
It gives flavor.
Cracker Jack. Fries.
The tequila at the bottom.
Well, it's certainly not our modern understanding of science that it comes from nowhere.
Right.
It comes from somewhere. It's our modern understanding, at least.
Right. Now I saw that this was already done by Pasteur. He already was studying this. That they did these tubes with the that didn't allow any bacteria in with a loop.
Right.
And he did not find any bacteria in those solutions that he was putting there. So that was supposed to be proof that there's no such thing as spontaneous generation, because he didn't find it. I saw I forget his name. There was a Chabad writer, a scientist. I think he's quoting the Rebbe. Is that that's not science to say that when you don't find something that disproves it.
I think the Rabbi said it also.
Oh yeah, so it could be he was quoting the Rebbe. Now it's true, it's not science. It's just very hard to imagine that it should work like that. Nevertheless, it's not the scientific method. Okay, Amarav. Less baka bar yaima. There's no mosquito that's a day old. I guess in those days mosquitoes only last.
So is this a gnat here?
A gnat.
Gnat,
Okay,
yeah.
That's better. That way we don't know what it is.
Right.
Less. Okay. Veles didva bashata. Is this a fly?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's no fly that's a year old. Yeah, our flies don't live anyways for a year. I don't know how long they live, but they live from probably a week to a few months or something.
To be able to say something with such certainty, that was pretty awesome.
So, do we know how long the flies live?
That's cool.
Mordechai would know. You know Mordechai Leskin? That's what he studied in university. Amarle Rav Papa la Abaya. Rav Papa says to Abaya, V'amri Inshi. However, people say, Shev Shani, Imra Baksa Mibaka. There were 7 years that the female mosquito or female gnat rebelled against the male. Why? Damarle. She said to him, Chazisi lebar mechuza. You saw a bar mechuza, a person from mechuza. Mechuza were supposed to be very heavy set people, like gluttonous. The sacha b'maya that was swimming in the water, v'salik, it came out. V'ichrich b'sadin, he wrapped himself up in a sheet or in a towel. V'yisiva salei, and you sat on it. Umatzis minei, and you drank the blood. V'lei haidisli, and you didn't tell me anything about this. You didn't share it with me. So the mosquito female rebelled against the male for 7 years. It's a kasha that we said it doesn't live for a day.
You got off the hook easy, by the way.
A day, yeah.
So Amalei. No, we said it doesn't live for a day.
Oh, for a day.
He says, according to you, this is Abaya responding back, this that people say, Shitin mani parzala tolule labaka bekornase, that 60 iron money the mosquito holds in its hammer. It means in its bite. So mi ika iu gufei kamehave. How's that possible? How big is the mosquito itself?
Wow.
Ella b'mani did too. It must be talking about its own type of currency. They must have a type of currency.
Compared to another.
So that's how much it has in its bite. So Chanami, Bishani did too. When we say 7 years it revolted, it's talking about 7 mosquito years.
We're going to Rashi.
I saw this teacher, it said in dog years I'm dead. So in mosquito years it's 7 years, but really for us it only lives 1 day. Kitanan Hasam. Behema balas hey raglayim, an animal that has 5 legs, or if it only has 3 legs, it's a blemish. You don't say it's a treifa, we just say it's a blemish.
You can't bring to his back.
Right? It's a blemish for a sacrifice. Rav Huna says on this, it's only a blemish if it has an extra or missing the foreleg, the front leg, the front arm. Aval chasav yaseh beregel, that's a treifa. But if it's missing the hind leg, or if it has an extra hind leg, that's a treifa. Treifa nami havi, it's even a treifa. It's not just a blemish for a sacrifice. My taima, what's the reason for that? Kol yeser kenatal dami. Anything that's extra is as if it's removed. So if it's a missing leg, is a treifa. Shamta yerech. If the yerech was removed, we said was a treifa. So machlekes. But here we're saying that it's a treifa. And if it has an extra one, it's also a treifa because it's considered like removed. This the pshatim.
I thought that Moore said that it was a treifa because of the tzomas. It was the
Agida?
junction of all these nerves and
Right.
and vessels.
16.
So you couldn't remove it without it subsequently dying. Isn't that what it said?
We said that was an independent issue.
At the airport this morning, like you were yesterday.
Menarkuva Lamaila we said was psula.
5:30 flight?
Right, it's the equivalent of it's not even there.
7 o'clock.
The belly,
Right.
it's not even there, so it's for sure possible. If you see about equivalent of
TSA,
it's
you
straight
don't
for
know.
that.
Right.
It's kind of what you got to look like.
Right. If it's we said that if the leg is removed and it's recognizable the cavity, you can see the cavity. So then, which would mean if the entire leg was removed, that was for sure a treifa.
Right.
There's several interpretations. What's the pshat in kol hayaseh kenatal dami? One interpretation is that when you take it out, you're going to make a cut. Imagine that you would have to do a surgery to take it out. What would it be? And you would have to cut it in those areas. You end up leaving it a treifa. Another interpretation is we don't know which is the correct one. Definitely the extra one is no good. We don't know which one is so therefore we consider it a treifa. Okay.
Is that common?
What, to have an extra leg?
Yeah. It's one of these cases.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
deformities. You have deformities.
Okay, we'll have to leave it here. We're running a little late.
cheese.
Oh, you're right, so.
I'm interested in your
I
discussion
have a fresh
about
Yaakov here.
the woman and
Yeah.